In this video, I'm going to show you how to get this prop from this to this. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to get our orbital sander, and we're going to get our sanding discs. We have 60, we have 120, 180, and then 320. We're going to work our way up from 60 all the way to 320. And then after that, we're going to use the 400 by hand, 1,000, 2,000, just to get it really nice and smooth. This is the same method that I use to do my Star-Lord helmet. Came out pretty good. We're doing Dragon Con here in Georgia. It was a pretty cool weekend with the sun. So first we're gonna go ahead and get set up. We gotta make sure that we have our mask. So it's good to have some kind of protection. I have my mask and I have a ventilator right above me. So I'll have both of those running. I want to show you here what happens if you do it too long. I was trying to make sure that the camera will catch it, but this is what happens right here. It'll get eaten up. So just make sure that you don't stay in one spot for too long, especially with the 60, something as coarse as that, because this is just like, it can get even worse than that. So you just got to make sure that it is actually, you're not doing it for too long in one spot. You continue to keep moving all around the helmet or your prop, okay? So we're done with the 60. So we're gonna go ahead and move up to 120. As you can see, you can still see a little bit of lines right here, but you got to keep in mind that you're not gonna get everything off. You're just trying to get all of the big bumpy stuff and move your way down. Okay, so you're not gonna get everything with the 60 grid. So you gotta kind of work your way up through the different grids as you keep sanding this, and it'll keep getting smoother and smoother. Now, one thing that you might wanna keep in mind before you even start printing a helmet or prop, it's like light colors PLAs are really hard to see when the lines are completely gone, and it's harder to sand because you don't know how far are you into the piece. So you just gotta keep that in mind when you are starting to prepare for a project. If you want to get a light color PLA, or if you want to get a darker color, as you can see here, a black color, you can clearly see that we still have some lines around here, and once you get down and it gets smoother, you can actually clearly see it. One thing that we, most people would like to think, well, I'm making a Boba Fett helmet, so I'm gonna get green. Well, if it's a dark green, it's gonna help you because you can still see. But you're gonna end up putting either Bondo or wood filler on it, and then you're gonna prime that, and then you're gonna have to paint it. So it doesn't matter what color you get of your PLA for your prop, but try to make it a darker color, because you can see better if you have lines here or if you have lines up here. You can clearly see that I still have some lines up here that I need to work on now with the 120. Even in the gray right here, which is a little darker color, you can still see that I have some lines that I need to work on over here as well. But then up here, it kind of disappears, you know, you can't really see it. All right, so we finished with the 120. We're gonna go ahead and move over to the 180. So I'm gonna tell you a way that you can, that you will know when you're in a spot for too long. Just stay tuned. Okay, so one way of knowing that you're in a spot for a little bit too long is that you put your hand behind the spot that you are sanding, and then you start sanding, right? If you feel start getting just the tiniest bit warm on your hand, you start feeling it, that's when you need to stop and move somewhere else, okay? So just don't go any further. As soon as you hit it, I'm telling you, the tiniest, like it's just warm, lukewarm, just move on to the next spot. You should never, if you're doing this, you should never get to that. But sometimes, you know, we get sidetracked or whatever, you know, we're in our little own world. So while we're sanding, because it's so awesome to sand all the time. So as soon as you feel that, move on to the next part. Got it? Okay, so by now you should be able to see where you're gonna have to patch it up with either some wood filler, some Bondo, whichever you like to use. I've used both of them. The thing I like about wood filler is that you can take your time with it. Bondo, you have a limited set amount of time to work with it. But you know, Bondo gets really strong. Wood filler does, but not as strong as Bondo. So what I would tell you is use them both, see which one you like better, and then go with it. All right, so by now we're just gonna go ahead and switch from 180 to 320 grid, and we can kind of see where, you know, there's gonna be some spots that we're gonna have to patch up. You see that right there. Some of these things in the front. Some lines are getting a little bit harder to come off, so again, we can throw some wood filler on there. Where I welded everything together, you still have the lines that we're gonna have to cover up, and we'll do the 320 now, and then we'll get to the patching. Okay, so now we're done with the machine. You can see most of those lines. It's very smooth right now. We're gonna continue to hit up these areas right here that the machine, the orbital sander didn't get into. And we're gonna hit those up by hand. And it's going to be the same process. It's going to be 60, 120, 180, and then 300. Same way as we did the whole helmet. Most of it is really soft and smooth. We just got some spots that we need to filler yet later, and then sand it up. Now we go to the 120. Now 180. And now 320. So now we're done with the hand sanding as well. Still got some little holes in here that we're gonna have to cover up with some wood filler. This side is pretty good. Got some imperfections around here. Again, we're still gonna have to cover those up. But all in all, not pretty bad. You know, I like using the machine because it's faster and you just gotta be able to control it and make sure that you're not bending or messing up the PLA and your prop. So I like using this Minwax color changing because it'll let me know whenever it's dry. So we'll go ahead and get that open. You just gotta throw it over. You're gonna end up sanding this again, so don't be shy. Important thing is that this part is already all nice and smooth, so when you go over, you're not making any new divots or any kind of issues with it. You're just gonna want to just hit the parts that you are using the wood filler with. Just cover all the little cracks, crevices. You know, there are other helmets like this. This is a good example right here. like this Spartan one. I did the weathering video with this one. The helmet it's supposed to look kind of, you know, beat up and cut up and stuff like that in some areas. So it's kind of cool and easier to work with this because you don't have to be super smooth with it. But you know, you can kind of pick and choose where your blemishes are going to be and then just weather it in, and it looks pretty legit. But this is Boba Fett, and you know, it does have that big blaster hole in there, or divot. But you know, most of the helmet is fairly smooth. It's very smooth. It's just, you know, the imperfections comes with the weathering of how old the helmet is, and you know, the paint itself will be weathered. So really, lines and you know, blemishes and divots, and they're not acceptable in this helmet, at least not for me. So we'll let it dry, and then we'll come back and work with it again. Get all the way to the front here. You stay out of the turning signals. I like calling them. Then we have some lines here that we weren't able to get with the sander. So we'll go ahead and kind of work it in there. And we can leave it, you know, kind of crazy looking in here. We'll come back and sand it. On the other side now, do the same thing. Got some of these blemishes from the printout. You can see I got 3 different colors on this piece. I was just getting rid of all the last little bit of spools that I had, using every inch that I can. I always like keeping the last little bit of string that comes out when the printer tells you that it ran out of the sensor told you that it ran out. It leaves a little bit of a line at the end. I like to use those to weld this together. As you can see, I got 3 different colors in there. You know, I got a video on that. And you can see it right here. Click on, where is it? Right there, somewhere in there, somewhere in there. Can never get that right. looks like I'm pretty much covered everything that needs to be covered. We'll just go ahead and let this dry, and then come back to it. Okay, so we let it dry out. It's all nice in the beige color instead of the pink. And now we're just gonna go ahead and sand it again. We're gonna do the same process, the 60, 120, 180, and then the 320. But this time I'm just gonna do it all by hand, okay? All right, so the other difference here is that we're gonna go ahead and use a sanding block, because we don't really wanna get into the little things that we're trying to cover, the blemishes that we're trying to cover. So we wanna make sure that we just sand it with a sanding block. All right, so again, with the 60 grit, we just want to knock down as much of the wood filler that we got on there. We're not gonna get it completely sanded with just that one. So we just gotta work our way down or up the numbers. If your sandpaper starts getting like that, all you have to do is just smack it around and it'll clean out some of it as soon as you're smacking it. See how it comes out? And then you can continue to sand. Okay, so 120. But I'm not gonna bore you with doing something that I already did. So I'll just go ahead and with the magic of editing, here we go. And now it is ready for the first primer layer. Just make sure that everything is nicely sanded. There's still going to be a little bit of a couple of imperfections on it. I like to use this kind of primer. This is the Rust-Oleum filler and sandable primer. If you have any small imperfections that you didn't really completely get with the sanding and the patching up with the wood filler and or Bondo, this will cover most of it. But you can we'll go ahead and spray it with the primer. We'll let it dry overnight, and then tomorrow we'll continue on. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and prime the helmet out. Okay, so here we are the next day. We let it dry out overnight. And now we gotta look at it and see what still needs to be patched up and taken care of. We still have some lines up here that we can take care of. Still have a little bit of a blemish here. This will go away. These little bumps will go away with the sanding. So the first thing that we're gonna do is we're gonna get the 400 grit sandpaper, and we're gonna give it a hand sand. Okay. All right, so here we got the 400 grit. And before you start patching anything up, just go ahead and give it a good rub down with the 400 grit sandpaper. This would clear out and make sure that you see where you need to put some more wood filler or Bondo. Okay, so we went ahead and gave it a sanding with the Grip 400, and we see that there are some spots that need some more wood filler, and there are some spots that needs some more sanding with a coarse 60 grit, so we can go ahead and knock this down right here. So we'll go ahead and do that. Some places we'll put some more wood filler, and others will sand. Okay, so we patched up again all the little holes and crannies, and we just go ahead and let it dry out, and then we'll start sanding again. All right, so now we are going to like detail now. So I don't know if you see the little imperfection right there. We're just gonna go ahead and not use the 60. We gotta go with the 120 first. And then just hit it up just like that. A little bit there. A little bit there. We're just trying to blend it all in. We'll get this in a little bit. I'll probably get this off camera. But it'll be the same process that I'm doing right now. And we're gonna go to the 180. $320. This one's just to buff out all the marks that the other sandpaper leaves on the helmet or the prop. And then what we'll do is we'll go to 400. And now we're really just trying to get it as smooth as we can. Just so we don't see the imperfections once we get another coat of primer on there. Okay, so then we'll just throw another coat of primer and then we'll look at it again. All right, so now I got a little bit of a patch up here that I gotta go through again, but now it is looking pretty good. So we'll go ahead and move up to the next step, just 1000 grit, and we'll start hitting it. So some people like to wet sand it. I don't think it's a necessary step. The first helmet I ever made, I wet sanded it. Second one I didn't, and they both come out pretty much the same at the end of the day. So why add an extra step for the same result? Is my way of thinking. All right, so we'll sand it. So as we see now, it's starting to get a little bit of a shine to it. So we'll move from the 1000 grit to the 2000 grit. Okay, so we're about done. We're gonna wait for this to dry and go through the process again. 120, 180, 320, then 400. Then we'll prime the whole thing again. Throw 1000 and 2000 grit again on it, and should be about done to get in this to the point where this video is supposed to go to, which is the prepping part of it. So I'm just gonna go ahead and roll you to the end. So here it is, all nice and ready for painting. One thing that I want to talk about is the laser rangefinder. This is easier. It's just some sanding and then some priming. This all comes apart, so we can go ahead and prime it all separately, and then we'll get it all painted like it's supposed to be and go ahead and get it set up.